Hi, welcome back to the podcast. I'm laughing because this is like a running joke that the kick-ass tape ends up everywhere. Everywhere. Look, it's on her paw. Okay, I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. Okay, welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 2. I'm so excited to be back. Welcome to You're a Gem, the podcast. I'm your host, Mary Kathryn Martinson, your expert on all things jewelry, small business, and entrepreneurship. I'm so glad everyone's loving the first episode. I've gotten so many fun comments back, and I'm excited to kind of share what I've been working on the last week-ish. So I brought my project bag. I'm so excited to show you. She's not gonna participate. She's done. She's over it. But let me just show you what I've been working on. So as you know, I've been working on my La Pointe Christmas Village. I have 3-ish pieces completed. I just finished the toy shop, which I'm so excited about. It's got little beads right here. The teddy bear is velvet. And then we did some decorative stitches around. Last night, I finished up the needlepoint store, which I'm so excited about her. I do have to add my beads right here on the little bushes. But other than that, she is complete. And I am almost, oh my gosh, I realized I didn't finish the rest of it. Okay, so this is my stable. I've got to finish the little crib. I've got to cut the turkey work up. I did turkey work on the snow on the stable and then the manes on both of the horses. And then I did little tiny French knots on the sheep as well. So I just have to add the beading and then I have to do the manger as well. But yeah, then they're done. They're ready to be sent off, which is so fun. Along with my village, I have been adding some other village pieces that are not technically part of the La Pointe villages, but I have a flower shop. This was a chart that I got from Etsy, and my friend Kat happily painted it for me. She is such a good painter, and I was so happy she was able to do this for me. So I've started it. As you can see, that's about how much I have. I'm going to start cranking out this one next. Basically, with my village, I'm keeping all the fibers that I'm using for the village in this bag. So I'm trying to match up the fibers so they're all similar project to project. I don't think any of these other ones I've started yet. Also in my village, I have the bakery, haven't started on her yet. The patisserie, which is part of this other village. And then I have started the tree lot. So I've just done a little bit on the tree lot. I think I'm going to crank this one out next. I've seen some really cool background stitches for this, so I'm definitely going to do some sort of decorative background stitch. And then I also have Santa's sleigh, which I have not started on. And look, I got a little string. Too much static. Okay, then I have this little pink house and then this other little house. I have not started on any of these yet. So by the end of the year, my goal is to finish all of these. I don't know if that's aggressive, but I've knocked those two or three out this year. So I think I'm on good pace. And they go quick because they're 13 mesh too. Another project I've been working on. Let me show you. She's in here. Got this one from Penny Lynn from Angelic Stitch, and we actually have these coming to the shop soon, which I'm so excited about. But it's my little cell phone that says IDK, and she's nice and sparkly and fun. I am going around the dark. I've got the dark purple left, and I have the phone screen. I'm kind of debating on whether or not I should try water and ice for the screen. I feel like that could be a kind of fun, reflective thing, or I should just maybe do a Milan and keep the background, have the words pop out. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, you got to check out the actual video so you can see what I'm showing here, We got some fireworks. I love this little phone. I think I'm going to make her into a little bag charm and maybe add like a little dangle charm to it, like a little phone charm. So yeah, that's what I've been actively working on the last like week and a half. I don't know which one I'm going to start on next, but I'm having fun working on those. So I like love seeing like the actual villages like come together. So it's fun to like keep working on those. And then I'll show like my whole village one day when they're all together. But I just got some other stuff back from our finisher, and I have to show you because I'm obsessed with our finisher and all the work that she does. This is my Charleston round. Look how cute. So I did little French knots with silk ribbon on the flowers, and then we've got some little beads. This is a Coco Frank piece. And then this one is from, I think it's the Painted Stitch. Little spicy margarita. I stitched this one when I was in Mexico earlier this year. And then for the tahine, I did little beads around the corner, which is so fun. And then I finally stitched our classic boot logo. I love the way that this one turned out. So we did some neon rays on this one and some capri. So it's super bright and neon. And I just love the way that this turned out. So these are hanging around the store. I keep all my finished products in the store for y'all to see, the ones that I've had professionally finished, because the ones that I finished myself will never see the light of day until we can go back and redo those. So I don't know where I'm going with this today. I like had some questions about how do I find different artists in the store. So that was one question I wanted to answer because all of our canvases are hand painted or printed. So we have about 100 different designers in the store, which is really, really, really fun to be able to support other small businesses. With the canvases, like how do I find them? So there's different collectives that have different artists under them. And so a lot of the collectives are like bigger, more established businesses, and then they will find different artists to go under their label. So a lot of times I'll find artists and canvases through the different collectives. And then also people reach out to me on social media and email, and I reach out to them too. So it's a little bit of both ways. And if you're a designer out there and you're maybe just starting out and you're wanting to like get your foot in the door, reach out to different businesses. I love when people reach out to us to show us what they work on. Because there's so many cool ideas. And then at the same time, like I'll go through and I'm kind of looking at what we already have in the store and then what is different. If I see stuff that I've never seen before, then I'm likely to pick those up. But if I'm seeing the same kind of hydrangeas and things like that, then most likely I'm going to pass on those because we already have well-established designers that those canvases do really well. So if you're a designer out there and you're wanting to like get your foot in the door, definitely like try to come up with some original ideas. Those are the ones that I'm looking for. I'm looking for original ideas. I'm looking for like a specific style. I feel like when an artist has developed a specific style, instead of like having a whole range of things, like those do really well. For us, like Olivia Grace Needlepoint, she's all nostalgic, Y2K, Beanie Babies, pop culture, etc. Like that stuff does really well on her line. And then Morgan Julia does really well with the cocktails, the spritz, the bar carts, those kind of things. So when a designer has a niche, it's really easy for us to pick up their line because I can say, oh, this one's Morgan Julia and this one's Morgan Julia, or this is Painted Pony and this one's Painted Pony. And customers will start to kind of find their style that they like, and same with Colors of Praise. Like these are all different designers and they all have completely different styles. And I carry a good variety of designers in the store because some days you want to stitch like a little something seasonal, and then sometimes you want to come in and you want to stitch a big, beautiful $250 canvas. So there's something for everybody in our store. And I'm like looking around and yeah, we have a good variety of style in the store. And so that's what I'm looking for when I'm going through different line sheets or looking at different collectives is like, what's standing out to me? what are customers asking for? And yeah, so that was one question that was answered. Another question I keep getting a lot: what is the difference between needlepoint and cross stitch? And embroidery, it's kind of similar, but I don't know too much about embroidery, so I don't want to like speak too much on embroidery. But the difference between needlepoint and cross stitch. So it is essentially the same stitch. We do the tent or the continental stitch. So Mexico to Maine for needlepoint. Cross stitch has the exact same stitch, except for you're stitching in an X. So you do one continental stitch to the right, and then you do one to the left, and you're basically stitching an X. The materials are different. So with cross stitch, you're stitching most of the time on Aida cloth. That's the one most people are familiar with. This is a hand-dyed version of Aida cloth I just picked up at Market. We do carry both in store, by the way. And then this is linen too. So different materials. And then needlepoint, you have a canvas. Majority of the time it's Zweigart. It's a canvas that is made in Germany. That's only made in one place all over the world, Germany, from a company called Zweigart. They are cotton canvases, but they also have a little bit of potato starch in them as well. So just different materials. You can use the same type of threads on them. So with cross stitch, you typically use like DMC embroidery floss, which is what you would use for embroidery as well. You can also use DMC on these canvases as well, but with needlepoint, I should have brought an example. With needlepoint, you have all different types of fibers too. So we have sparkly fibers, we have velvets, like which you can see on here. Like we've got ribbon, we've got sparkly, we've got all sorts of different types of fibers too. Or different, types of fibers. So there's different ways you can stitch and different decorative stitches. With cross stitch, you're doing the same stitch for every single thing. And then also price difference. So cross stitch is definitely more cost effective. So typically you're buying a chart is what they're called. You're buying a chart. This is what it looks like. And then you basically count each, like there's little codes, and this has every color that you need to buy for this specific chart to make it look like this. It'll tell you like how many skeins you need. You can do French knots, etc. Stitch count for 45 by 48 stitches. So it tells you like which type of count, because there's different types of count. And same with needlepoint too. We have basically like two sizes are the most popular ones. We've got, these are both 13. Of course, I grabbed two of the same example. But with the mesh sizes, so we call this mesh, we've got 13 count and 18 count mesh. I think all the projects I have here are 13. Yeah, so 13 is typically easier because the holes are bigger. So 13 holes per square inch versus 18 holes per square inch. And with obviously with cross stitch, like this is a piece of paper, so you can, this is about $12, like anywhere from like $7 to like $15 are charts. And a canvas is anywhere, like this one specifically is $65. It's hand painted. And then this one is one of our lines in store. This is the Kick-Ass line, and it's $24 because it's printed. So you've got hand painted versus printed. A lot of people that cross stitch eventually go over, they turn to the dark side and go over to needlepoint. Like my sister does both, but I think she's been needlepointing more the last, like obviously since I opened this, she needlepoints more. But yeah, that's the difference between cross stitch and needlepoint. And you can do the same thing with them. You can turn them into pillows, you can frame them, you can turn them into ornaments, like whatever you want to do with them. You can do the same kind of outputs with them, but I feel like the designs most of the time with needlepoint are more modern. There are modern cross-stitch designers, but for the most part, I feel like I see more modern needlepoint canvases than cross-stitch. Cross-stitch, you see a lot of samplers, which are like the whole alphabet and the numbers and things like that. So that's called a sampler. And when I just went to the cross stitch market. So I learned a lot more. I really didn't know anything about it. I've never cross stitched, but I obviously enjoy needlepoint. But I learned so much when I was at the cross stitch market. And like the big thing now are like the hand dyed linens, which are really cool. So hand dyed Ada cloth and hand dyed linen. And I feel like the biggest mistake I see when people are starting out with needlepoint is they're buying Ada cloth, because Ada cloth is usually like you can buy Ada cloth at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, whatever. The needlepoint canvases you cannot buy at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. So I'll see people buying Ada cloth and then trying to use the thicker fibers and things on the Ada cloth, and it just doesn't work the same. Like this is just flimsy, and like this is more structure to it, so this is going to hold just different types of fibers. So that's the difference, which I thought was kind of a fun way to explain the difference of the two. All right. I think this podcast today is going to be more like heavily needlepoint, because I've had a lot of questions like stretcher bars, needles, like what is going on in the industry. And let me tell you, same with like the canvas shortage too. So needlepoint has exploded in the last like 5-ish years. And I'm a new needlepointer, so I've only been needlepointing for about 2 years. So I am seeing the supply chain issues that we're having right now with needlepoint. So there's a global canvas shortage because the canvas is only made in Germany. There's a stretcher bar shortage. I cannot figure out why there's a stretcher bar shortage, because it's literally just pieces of wood. So if someone can tell me why there's a shortage in stretcher bars, I'd love to know. DMC has been having a huge issue with restocking needles. So we've been like bulk buying everything we can get our hands on. We have a huge Rainbow Gallery order coming in this week or next. And yeah, there's just a surge of new stitchers and not enough supplies to go around. Like these fiber companies are older, their machines are older, the way that they manufacture is like completely different than like made in China. Okay, so in store, what do we have new? We've got lots of new books in store. We have a whole cross stitch section now. We've been slowly bringing in like different tools and notions and things like that. So we have the Bunka brush, we have thread magic, we have foldable scissors. I'm looking at all the new stuff. We've got fray check, we've got all sorts of new fun things in the store. What else is coming in the store? We are working on getting a projector up in the store so we can do movie and stitch nights, which I'm really excited about. People always ask like, why needlepoint? Like, why did you pick this very niche thing and like become obsessed with it? And I think the biggest thing about needlepoint is like the community that's behind needlepoint. There are so many cool people that like want to share what they're working on. And I think like the TikTok community has been really, really cool with, sharing their projects. And like, I feel like a lot of people don't typically like gatekeep like where they got something or like how they did something too. I've seen a couple random things like that, but, yeah, just like the community aspect behind needlepoint is really, really, really cool. And I love like all the different friends and like relationships and with like not only customers, but with designers too. We had a customer come in last week and she brought us a cookie cake. And my employee texts me and goes, "Oh my gosh, this girl just brought us a cookie cake." And I was like, "Why?" And she goes, "She's so excited about the launch of your podcast." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to cry. Like, that is the kindest thing." Like, she brought in us a cookie cake. And she wanted to celebrate the cookie cake and then us getting our sign on the building too, which has been a huge deal. So yeah, the community behind Needlepoint is incredible. We have the best customers in the entire world. So shout out to our favorite customer who brought us a cookie cake last week because it made my whole day. And we get so many fun customers coming in every day. I love having a brick and mortar. It's just a totally different online experience. I feel like with online, there's so many variables that we can't control with like an online situation. So like shipping and weather and things like that. So like obviously packages go missing, packages get lost in the mail, people deliver it to the wrong mailbox, people steal it out of your mailbox. My brother just had someone steal a bunch of packages out of his mailbox yesterday. So the online aspect, like obviously it's cool because we're reaching customers that are all over the country and like all over the world, but I can't fully control the whole experience. Whereas the store, I feel like we can control a good bit of the experience. Obviously, like different people have good days and bad days, but like having a good staff, having a clean store, like those things are very important, and helping different customers when they come in. I hear so many times about horrifying experiences of people going into businesses wanting to spend their hard-earned money and not being greeted, like not given the time of day, like kind of brushed off if they ask like a silly question. And people will say all the time, "Oh, I have a stupid question." I'm like, "No questions are stupid. Like you're learning this. Like you've got to, it's like when you're in school, you've got to ask questions when you don't understand something and you have to ask for help." And like needlepoint's the same thing. Like you have to research and like ask questions. You're not going to be number one overnight. So yeah, I feel like the store aspect has been incredible. The store aspect has been incredible with that because, you know, you have control over the whole customer interaction. And I tell my girls that in the store too. Like you never know what someone is going through, and this could be, you know, they could have just had a miscarriage. They could have an abusive partner. They could have lost their job. Like their grandmother's sick. Who knows what's going on? But the highlight of their day could be coming into our needlepoint store, and we want to make sure we have a damn good experience for them. So that is like number one. And it breaks my heart when people tell me they've been into a store and people are like not friendly. And I'm like, this just blows my mind that like you would just brush a customer off. Obviously, like on a Saturday, it gets so busy and we're trying to help as many people as we can. So I would say if you're wanting to learn needlepoint, maybe Saturday is not the best day to come in and start because it is crowded and there's more people to help. But if you're like really wanting to get started, come during the week, like come on a Sunday. It's not as busy on a Sunday, and like call the store and ask questions too. We have people calling all the store all the time. I had a customer answered the phone the other day, and a customer, he said he just retired and he's wanting a hobby, and he was like, "Is it easy? Like, can I pick it up?" And I was like, "Yes, you can definitely pick it up. Like, you've got to practice. You know, it's like anything. You can't just like get a basketball and immediately like shoot a hoop. You know, like you've got to practice, and it's like with any sport or any hobby or anything, like the first time you start sewing and you buy a sewing machine, you're not immediately going to make a dress or like a wedding dress or something. Like you got to start small. And so I just tell people that with needlepoint too, like find something small, like less colors, less detail. And this could be for anybody too. Like if you're starting out and you're like, maybe you haven't even started, maybe you don't know anything about needlepoint, and you're like, I keep seeing this on my TikTok or like For You page, and I'm like wanting to get into this, but I don't know where to start. Like you're not going to sit on my canvases. Find a canvas that has less colors and less detail and start there. Like start small. Don't start with a Christmas stocking. I heard the other day someone went into a store and they were trying to sell a beginner a Christmas stocking. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like I haven't even done a stocking and I've been stitching for 2 years. Just there's some projects you just like don't immediately like, it's like running. Like you can't just like immediately run a marathon. Like you've got to like run a mile first, and then you got to do a 5K, and then you got to do a 10K, and then, you know, a half, and then you get to a marathon. So you have to like build your way up. And I say that with needlepoint too. Like start small, master a couple of things, and then like move to the next thing. So if you're thinking about starting needlepoint and you've been scared to get started, you're intimidated, you're overwhelmed, there's a lot of information out there. But basically, to start a canvas, to start needlepointing, you need a canvas, and you need some fiber, and you need a needle, and that's it. Everything else is just an accessory. You don't need stretcher bars to start. You don't need, people are always like, oh, have to stitch on stretcher bars. Like, no, my grandmother's needlepointed for like 40, 50 years, and they never used stretcher bars. Like, maybe they did a scroll when they were stitching a stocking, but most of the time, no. Like, they never use stretcher bars. So I personally don't stitch on stretcher bars. I don't like the heaviness of them. It's bulky. Like, I like to fit, I've got what, 6 canvases in here. I couldn't do that if I had stretcher bars on every single one. And I travel a lot, and so I like to bring all my different canvases with me. So needle minders, that's an accessory. You don't need it. Basically, like, project bag. You don't need a project bag either. You literally use a Ziploc bag. So there are so many ways you can make needlepoint more affordable. You can paint your own canvases. You can go to estate sales. I see them at estate sales and like craft reuse stores. So we have this craft reuse store called Smart Art. It employs adults with disabilities, and it's basically like you donate different craft supplies there. So they have tons of canvases in there. Like, you don't have to go into a store and buy the most expensive canvas to start. Like, start small. Like, see if a friend has a canvas that she would teach you on. You know, there's so many things you can do to make it more affordable. And needle pointing like seems very overwhelming because there's so many different fibers and things like that. But like, you can use DMC embroidery floss from Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and I think they might even have it at Walmart. We've got it in our store for 79 cents a color. And yeah, there's no reason to like, I mean, obviously with like any hobby, like golf, you can have the nicest golf clubs and accessories and shoes and all that. Like, you can do all of that, but will it make you a better golfer? That's up to you. Same with needlepoint too. Like, I can have 15 needle minders. I can have 1,000 project bags and like stretcher bars on everything and a new pack of needle and like tulip needles. Like, you don't have to have all that. I've got like 3 needles that I use on every project, which like, I feel like if I were to go in some old school needlepoint stores, they would cry at like how I stitch, just like how I have it all thrown in a bag, but it gets the job done. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell that this was not stitched on stretcher bars. And same with all my Christmas villages too. So don't overthink it. That's all I got to say. All right. Bye.